Hey everyone, this is the Metroidvania Guru here with another MV Dev Talk. Today I have someone very special with me. It is the director of Squid Shock Studio, Chris. I'm going to head and throw it to him, let him introduce himself.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris, and I'm the co-founder and director of Squid Shock Studios, and I served as like game director, art director on Bow Path of the Teal Lotus, which released in 2024, in mid July 2024.
Yeah, it came out really close to my birthday, and I remember on my channel, I usually take like July off, and I just do a bunch of like goofy stuff. That way I still have content going, and it kind of killed me because while I was out on vacation and doing stuff, Bo came out, and I was like, oh, I really want to play this, but I was in Myrtle Beach at the time, and you know, being at a beach versus sitting down playing a video game, beach wins every time. So, but when I got back, I got to sit down, got to play Bo, and I had a whole lot of fun with that game. So it's great to have you here. I really appreciate it. Just like the last time I did one of these things, we had some audio issues, but Chris was a champion, helped me out with it, and was very flexible. And again, I just appreciate everything you've done for me so far, man. And we haven't even got started yet.
No worries.
so, um, so Bo Path of the Teal Lotus, a Metroidvania steeped in what I would say a lot of Japanese lore. Uh, I watched a video from Gaijin Goomba. I'm sure you're very familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he basically said that your game was like too Japanese or very Japanese, something like that. Like tell me about your inspiration for Bo because it's beautiful and it has so much Japanese culture and folklore to it. So like, is that something you've always been interested in?
Yeah, and talking about Gaijin Goomba, like he was one of the early proponents of our game. Like we were sharing screenshots on Twitter back then,
No.
and he just posted I'm so psyched to play this on one of our little clips or something. And I freaked out because I had been watching his videos for years. He's like, I don't know if he's a YouTube OG, but he's one of my favorite YouTubers and he's been doing it for so long. So when he messaged us, I freaked out because it was the first like real attention we got for the game. So he was always like promoting our game for us, and that was really cool. And when I saw those videos he did two of them, and I think they're like really long. And it was almost like a burden to him because it was our game is so jam packed with references and things like that that he was like out of breath during the video, like trying to like cover everything. And he didn't even do like 1/10 of the game.
Oh wow.
So yeah, but yeah, to answer your question more directly, I've always been interested in Japanese folklore. I mean, I grew up with the Pokemon series, which has like a strong tie to Japanese folklore, and I'm half Japanese myself, so I grew up with like a lot of these little picture books, like Princess Kaguya and Momotaro, and like I don't even remember some of these picture books I used to have. My mom had a whole collection, and I just remember thinking it was really cool and different. And I also am really into Japanese artwork, like traditional Japanese artwork, like the ukiyo-e woodblock printing and sumi-e, like the black ink type artwork, and that's always been very visually attractive to me. So I knew that I wanted to like explore that aesthetic and like going alongside a Japanese folklore for like the content and the influences was something that I felt like I could pull off because I was such a nerd for it.
I take it you probably watched a lot of anime growing up.
Not growing up, like more so in my adult life, believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
Um, but of course I grew up we had Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service on VHS, and like we wore those tapes out
Oh yeah.
so hard. So definitely like Miyazaki was like a big influence on me growing up, just like
Oh yeah.
a bunch of other people. But like it wasn't until like high school or university or even now that I got like super into anime. So
Really?
like
Wow.
Naruto was like the first anime I got into like in high school.
Oh yeah, I don't want to say I'm an OG, but I got into anime when I was really young. But like when I was really young, I'm talking like late '80s, early '90s, and so
Damn.
yeah, I got into Sailor Moon, which was
Yeah,
an awakening for a young Metroidvania guru. Let me tell you, I used to love watching that before I went to school. And then that also had Samurai Pizza Cats, which they have a game coming out soon, which is interesting. So I don't know if you know about Samurai Pizza Cats, but they're like a parody of
I've
Teenage Mutant
never
Ninja
heard of
Turtles. Yeah, they're a parody of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they're goofy and they're fourth wall breaking. So they got a beat 'em up game coming out really soon. But yeah, I grew up with a lot of anime, and I've also appreciated the Japanese culture, and I thought I was pretty like savvy on it, like I knew a whole lot. And then Bo came out, and you hit me, and help me if I say this name incorrectly, but I do believe it's Tentaihana.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So the Tentaihana shows up, right? And so that's Bo, right? And that's what he is. He's a creature called a Tentaihana, and I just accepted it. I was like, oh yeah, that's probably a thing, right? Like in Japanese folklore. But it's like, but no, I did a little bit of research, and it appears that it was a creation that you did. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. If you Google Tentaihana, the only results that will come up are related to the game because while I really wanted to draw a lot of inspiration from folklore directly, like one to one, like this is a Hirodama spirit from Japanese folklore. Let's put it in the game. I wanted to kind of iterate on the Japanese folklore and create my own creature type, yokai type that would feel consistent within Japanese folklore, but be something completely new. And that's when I came up with Tentaihana, which is direct translation is celestial blossom. And so it's a flower that gets blessed by a kami, or the Japanese gods, and it transforms into a sentient being that's also kind of taking an animal affinity as well. So it's a flower and an animal, and that draws inspiration from like those picture books I was talking about earlier, like Momotaro and Princess Kaguya, where these kind of supernatural beings are born from plants. Like in Momotaro's case, it's like a peach.
Mm-hmm.
It's a boy that comes out of a peach, and Princess Kaguya grows out of a bamboo stalk, and they're kind of like aliens.
Yeah.
Or like Princess Kaguya is literally from the moon. So there's like all kinds of wacky, cool stuff, and I wanted to play around with that. And it was really cool because I was able to come up with like, it's kind of a cool formula, like flower plus animal, plus they also each have a celestial relic.
Yeah.
So you can kind of create your own characters within that world, and we created many for the game, Bo included, the main character.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm saying there is like you did such a good job because like I didn't even second guess that it was something that you created because you had like he looks brilliant, he looks amazing, and then you have like all the lore behind it. It's like you really like went in there, and it, like you said, it really kind of integrates and flows with everything else in the folklore that you're using. So I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I was just so impressed when I was like, oh, Tentaihana is not even a thing. You made that, and so I was like, wow, that's really awesome. So
cool. I'm glad I could nerd you out a little bit about that.
Yeah,
that was the intention.
You definitely nerded me out on that one. Gosh, yeah, so much I want to talk about here. Let's talk about some structure, right? And this is just my kind of like Metroidvania nerdness coming out. And what's really cool about Bo, and we'll talk about the combat and all that stuff here in a second, but like I like exploration. That's kind of my big thing, the number one thing I'm looking for when it comes to Metroidvanias. And so Bo does something really kind of cool that I liked. And so it starts out, you know, you're in your tutorial area, and it's pretty linear up until you hit the town, right? And so you got, tutorial area, you go into the cave, and then you go across the bridge, you fight that really awesome boss. I really like that lady. She was a really cool boss. Then you hit the town, and then it becomes a little non-linear in that, like, you have a couple of places to go, right? You can go to the forest or you can go to the mountains, right? And so whichever one you go to, eventually you're going to be utility gated, right? So originally I went the path to the forest, and then I got stopped because I think I needed the hover. And or no, you'll have to help me
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there. Is that what it
you're
was?
right. But there is a hover lock in the bottom of the forest, but that's also there can be a sequence break there where you actually don't need the hover.
Oh, look at you. But
But
yeah. So what's
yeah,
interesting is so you get to the town, and then you got your two branches you can go to, one way or the other. Either way, you're going to get utility blocked, and then you have to switch back and forth. I thought that was really kind of cool. And then once you get past those utility gates, right, then you open up each biome more and find other biomes hidden beneath those biomes, right? And so I thought that was really cool. And in my review, I called it like a zigzag exploration because I'm not very smart, and I thought that was the best way to do it. But yeah, you're bouncing all over the place, and I love when Metroidvanias do that with their biomes, right? They're not just a stage you beat and then move on. They feel more real, more alive because you get there, like stuff happens, right? Like I went to the forest. I talked to. You have to help me with the name. It's like Asai. Is that was his name or
Asahi,
Asahi? Okay, yeah.
Asahi, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And so like, he's also a Tentaihana, right? Who was helping. I don't want to spoil stuff, but anyway, like but yeah, so there's a little bit of a story beat going on there, and then I get utility gated, and then I went to the mountain, and I was helping out the Beatles. Is that what they are? Like the Beatles?
Yeah, they're sumo wrestling beetles. Yeah.
Yeah, sumo wrestling Beatles. Not the band, the Beatles. That would be funny. But like the sumo wrestling Beatles. And then there's a story going on there, and then I get a utility gated. I have to, but then I unlock something so I can go and whatever. So I'm bouncing all back and forth. It just makes these biomes feel real and less like levels, right? And so, like, is that what you were going for there? How did you guys come up with that kind? Is that what you wanted? You were like, I want you to go here, get stopped, then bounce over here. Is that how that happened?
Yeah, exactly. And you're mentioning like in the beginning, there's not too much variation in the paths you can take, and that was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
That first area, the bamboo forest, it's extremely linear, and the first real deviation in player choice is at the bottom of the waterfall in like the cave area. We could go left or right.
Oh yeah.
That's just like a first initial. Either way doesn't really matter. You'll get a power up earlier than usual if you go one way or the other, but that I just wanted to slowly trickle that in for people who maybe are like not Metroidvania junkies that don't really understand how Metroidvanias work, while still like saying like we are Metroidvania that does exist. This is a little taste of it, and like once you reach the city, like you said, it really opens up. So this since the city is such an important hub where you get like most of your upgrades, quest lines, and things like that, where and you can also base build within the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wanted players to naturally cross through the city throughout their playthrough, and I thought like how should we make that happen? So if the city's in the middle, we have the areas kind of on the left or right. Most players will go into the forest first and then realize they have a lock here, and then have to like traverse back to the city. There's like 2 routes or 3 routes you can go, and then they'll naturally maybe get their upgrades and do everything in the city. Like maybe they found some items here that unlocks like extra health or extra attack power, and then they'll naturally go left, reach some sort of block, or do like the little beetle sumo arc, reach a lock, and then maybe go back to the city. Maybe an event happens, and then remember that now that they have this ability, they can go back here and kind of naturally flow. And like you said, it was a zigzag pattern. I saw it was more of like a figure 8 pattern,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
where the players constantly kind of going in a figure 8 through the city. We're at the intersection of the figure 8. That's the city, and the players just going like this until they have enough, until a certain event happens, and then they have to break that cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. A figure 8, that flow. That's good. That's good. Oh man. I want to. And this is just kind of an aside, I suppose. But I remember I did my review for Bo, and I think we may have like had some exchanges after that because I said something, I provided some feedback, and you were like, oh, can you give me an example and stuff like that. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember when I did my review for Bo, and I said something, and I was completely wrong. And I said that the game's sense of humor was lacking. And I was listening to that when I was editing, and I was like, why did I say that? I don't know why I said that. I was like, this is very harsh. And the reason, I don't know. But like, I went through and I was like, okay, let's play through this game again. And it's like, I don't know why I said that. And I even put like in like a text saying like, I'm dumb for saying this. And then I even gave an example of something that was super hilarious in the game. And that was the procession of the foxes. Dude, that was so funny. Like, like you're Bo and you're trying to help them get to the wedding, right? And then if you don't do the puzzle fast enough, the music stops and they just stare at you. Yeah. That's freaking hilarious. What was your inspiration for that?
That particular moment, I remember talking to one of our level designers, Milton Guasti, who actually works with Moon Studios, and he worked on Ori too.
Oh wow!
And I remember telling him like, I want to kind of do an escort sequence at the top of Midori Forest, and he immediately was like, "Are you kidding me? Escort mission? That is suicide." So I was just like, but I think I can come, it's not going to be that long, and I think I could come up with like a fun little interaction there. So during that wedding scene, when they come and like stop and stare at you, that was actually inspired by an Akira Kurosawa film called Dreams. There is a vignette in that movie called The Fox's Wedding, in which a little boy like is walking through the forest, then he sees kitsune, like, which is Japanese for fox, but they're like magic foxes. They're having a wedding procession, and then they do that exact like stop and stare at the boy kind of thing. I don't know if you saw that on our Twitter. I posted that was the reference for that. And then I just like the creative juices started cooking, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what they should do while they're waiting for you to like create a path for them. Yeah. And then Milton ended up loving it. He was like, oh, this is so great.
Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, I don't know why. Like sometimes when I write reviews, I say dumb stuff, and then I catch myself and I throw a text like, no, actually this game is actually super funny. I don't know, but I just wanted to make sure everyone listening knows that sometimes I'm dumb, and Bo actually has a really good sense of humor. I like the little monkey kids, all that going on. So yeah, it has a really great sense of humor. I don't know why I said that. Maybe I'm just dumb. It happens. But getting back to the game. One of the things that I really liked about Bo, other than the bat, I love the bat. You don't see that a lot in Metroidvania. So, because one of the questions I want to ask you was like, what mechanically separates Bo from other Metroidvanias? And I already kind of know, like the bat is a really cool thing, and then also just like the double jumps that he gets, like you get basically infinite jumps as long as you're whacking stuff with the stick, right? What was your inspiration for that? Because I love, especially when it was integrated with the bosses, you had that one giant fox boss where you're like jumping all over the place. That was really fun. So like, tell me your process to getting to that.
Yeah, so the jump reset system that you're talking about was initially inspired by a game called Dustforce DX.
I think I remember.
Which kind of has like, yeah, it was like I think it was a Nintendo DS game, but it's on PC too.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a cult classic a little bit. Not too many people know about it. But it's a platformer, very technical, like momentum-based, kind of like very technical. Like the difference between people who play it at a high level and like casual is like extreme.
Oh yeah.
So they have a system where you can hit objects and that will reset your jump. So I was like, this is really fun. Just like keeping your momentum and like your play going by constantly like resetting your jump and your dash. So I was like, this is fun. Why not experiment with this a little bit? So rather than giving Bo an inherent double jump, we're saying you got to earn that double jump. But if you earn the double jump, you have infinite jumps. Mm-hmm. Like if you know how to like chain it. So that was a big thing. And then later I played a game called The Messenger, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Oh yeah.
That has a mechanic called the Cloud Step, which is essentially the same thing as what's happening in Bow. It's like you hit something and you get an extra jump. So I also kind of took a look at that and was like, okay, how did they implement it? How did they solve problem X, Y, Z, and try to incorporate it? But before I played The Messenger, that mechanic was probably already like done. I wouldn't say it was like super polished, but it was in there, yeah.
Yeah, I like bows because even if you take a look at the Cloud Step and Messenger, you know, the Messenger, he can only attack forward, while bow can like smack in any of the cardinal directions, right? It's and so you can like pogo off somebody and then do a double jump and then hit something, and it's very intuitive, very fun, and it also links to another mechanic that I really liked in the game, and that was like the tea mechanic where you're boiling the tea. So I love it when you have a really cool mechanic like you know the infinite jumping or the jump reset or whatever you want to call that, and then you get rewarded for getting good at it, right? Because you get good with the tea, and then that makes your, and again I'm gonna try it, Daruma doll. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, Daruma, yeah.
Daruma, okay, cool. And then it makes that open up its third eye, and then it's more powerful. And so, like, is that something that you guys kind of came up with? You were like, okay, now we're jumping all over the time, but then, like, how do we reward people for doing that? Is that how that came about?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a story to this. I kind of got to reach back into my memory hole. So I knew I wanted Daruma in the game, and originally, like, they were gonna have one eye, which means they had just like a small amount of power in their spell. And how you would get the second eye would be through a quest. So you would go, like, a character would give you a Daruma doll and say, like, help me accomplish this goal. And if you accomplish that goal, I'll fill in the next eye. And that Daruma would actually give you a passive benefit, like extra health or like money magnet. So like originally the Daruma were actually going to be the Omamori, what became the Omamori system, the charm system, where you would have a passive effect. But then the tea previously was only used for healing, and I was like, it got like midway through development, I'm like, oh, this tea system sucks. Like, what do we do? Because like you only just drink the tea and you heal, but how do we like iterate on that to make it a little bit more of a balancing act while you're in combat to like use the tea for things that are actually like feel impactful? So it had like a mid-dev crisis where I was like, oh my god, it's coming to the point where we have to figure this out, or we're not going to have time to make it good.
Oh, yeah.
So I spoke with Milton, who came onto the team like midway through development, and Milton was like our Jesus. Like, he saved the project because it was becoming a lot for me to handle on my own, like making all the game design decisions and system designs. So one day I was just like, we have this problem where the tea is like not feeling like it's useful. So he actually redesigned the Daruma system where they became the spells of the game, where you could summon them and do this. Oh, I'm missing a step here actually. So like someone mentioned that you should be rewarded for, since the main mechanic is like staying in the air with bow and like resetting the jump. Someone mentioned that that mechanic should be rewarded more. Like, we should motivate the player to do that. I think it was our publisher, actually, Humble Games, at the time.
Okay.
And they were saying, like, yeah, so that's stuck in my head. I was like, how do we reward the player for staying in the air more? So that's one of the problems that we were trying to solve when I brought it to Milton. And then Milton's, like, just sat with me for, like, a day, and we designed, or actually, he designed, like, 90% of it. The Daruma system, the Omamori system, and the kettle combo boiling system. Oh, wow. And they were all integrated, like, so nicely and flowed much better than what I had originally designed. Of course, we had to like iterate on that so many times before we got it like nice and polished. But yeah, that was like all the story behind that. Sorry if it was a little jumbled. It's been a while since I thought about it.
Oh no, it's all good, yeah, it's so cool because like it is a good idea to be like, okay, here's something that you're going to be doing a lot as a player, this mechanic, this jump reset. So how do we make it even more rewarding? And I think like developers should take a cue from that, right? Because that is a really cool mechanic that you get in Bow. Matter of fact, you get it like pretty much instantly, right? A lot of Metroidvanias like to hide their best mechanics, deeper into the game. Not all of them, but you see that a lot where it's like I get really deep, maybe mid to late game. I finally get the really cool, unique mechanic, lets me do all this stuff. Bo was like, nah, here you go. Start jumping and smacking things and using this bat. You get the bat pretty dang early too, almost like you get the bat after beating the first boss or before beating the first boss. I can't recall.
After the first boss.
Is it after the first boss? Okay, yeah. And so yeah, you get that super early. So you got the cool bat, you got this jump mechanic, and so like now what, right? And so the answer to that is make it more rewarding to use those things. And so you got your Daruma dolls, and you're doing the quest, which I think you go to like the guy, and he draws the eye on it after you get the ink, right? And then the third eye opens once you actually start doing the boiling aspect of it, staying in the air. So
yeah.
So but yeah, like I think a lot of developers and I would do themselves a great service if they would take a look at Bo in that respect, in my humble opinion, because again, I get all this interesting stuff at the very beginning, and it just kind of like builds as we move forward. And I think I was talking to Stefano from Cookie Cutter, and I even like that was one of my critiques on his games. Like, you got some really cool stuff, but it's all at the end of the game, man. Like, I want that stuff earlier, But obviously the game's made already. But Bo, I didn't feel did that. They were just like, hey, here's all the cool stuff. Let's get playing. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that was an intentional choice for sure, because I have the same criticism of some games that do that, where it's like such a fun mechanic. Just give it to the player early and let them play around with it, and then get good at it over time.
Yeah.
Like, I think one really big example is the dash in Hollow Knight. Like, that comes pretty late into the game, like 2 hours in for most players. And I don't know, it didn't stop that game from being ultra successful and like one of the best games of all time, but like it definitely stopped some players from fully enjoying it. So
we're talking about the crystal heart where he's like, right?
No, I'm just talking about the dash.
Just like, okay.
Yeah, gotcha. The air dash or the horizontal dash, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, I love the air dash, especially when you get the where it's void and you can kind of go through
the void dash,
frames and stuff. Yeah, so gotcha. So I thought you were talking about like the crystal heart, and I was like, man, you get that in 2 hours, you must be really good. So there are some people that can speedrun that. You think you could speedrun Hollow Knight?
I for sure could, because I have like 200 hours in it, but I've never like tried. We have a lot of Hollow Knight speedrunners in Bo's speedrunning community, so it kind of got me interested, but wow. I don't really have the time.
200 hours, it's huge. Did you get through the Pantheon of the Gods and everything, or?
I can't do P5. I'm too. It's a skill issue. Like that is ridiculous.
No, dude, I'm with you. Same. It's crazy. But I've watched people do it on YouTube, so.
Yeah, like I think it's like 0.01% of players have done that. Yeah, it's crazy.
And yeah, like the Steel Soul, like no, that's not gonna happen.
Nah.
Mm-mm. All right, so okay, you brought up Humble Games. That was your publisher, and it seems like that's not the case anymore. There was some falling. I don't know if that's something you want to talk about, but I'd like to know how that went and how things are going now for Bo, because there's something coming out for Bo, and I'll bring that up over in a second. But I just want to get a little history on there, see where you're at, and how all that's going.
Yeah, so we were published by Humble Games, and then you can look this up online and stuff, but like a few days after we launched, they laid off all of their staff. I believe it was 36 people. So all the people we had been working with up until that point for maybe like 2.5 years just were inaccessible to us. and I don't want to blame like the staff members at all, or I don't want to blame anyone really,
Sure,
because
sure.
like it was a choice that made, obviously wasn't made lightly. I loved Humble, like they did so much for the game. So anyway, that happened like right after our launch, and we were kind of left like in the dark, like what is happening right now. It was very surreal because we were on this incredible high. We were at Bit Summit in Kyoto, Japan. We were launching the game. There was a lot of hype. I got to meet, a lot of my hero developers while at Bit Summit. I got to meet Team Cherry. I got to meet the Nine Souls devs from Red Candle.
Oh, nice.
Got to meet like Terry from Sabotage, who did Sea of Stars and The Messenger. Like all these, like we were on this incredible high, and then I wake up one morning and get the email that says Humble laid off all the staff, and I laid in my bed that morning in the hotel in Kyoto and just like had I wouldn't even say a mini panic attack. I just had a full blown panic attack. And there was a lot of questions I had and didn't know what was going to happen and things like that. And honestly, that went on for months where it was just very unclear what was happening. And I don't want to go too much into all the details, but anyway, right now, Humble Games still exists as an entity, right? Like Humble Games is still the publisher of our game, Slay the Spire, Temtem, all those games, right? So it still exists in that sense. However, I don't think it exists like as a group of people, if that makes sense. It's like a corporate thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. But right now we're working with a group of former Humble employees called Good Games Group, and they're like kind of doing what Humble did for us, and we like them. They're familiar faces from Humble. It's a long, complicated story. I don't even know all the details. I don't really care to know. It's just like stressful to like think about. But anyway, everything is going well now.
Good.
Just to like put a bow around that. No pun intended. We're putting a bow on that, and so I knew that I wanted to continue improving the game and like doing things that we didn't have time to do for the base game. So I'm like, DLC makes sense. People are asking for a boss rush. People are asking for a bestiary. People are saying XYZ, like add this, add that. And I'm like, yeah, we could do all that. And we could do it quickly now that we know how to do everything. It was always my intention to kind of like expand on the base game. So we're hard at work every day doing that. Actually, today we're kind of like doing a beta build. So that's like something that's happening like right after this call.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we've been building up to that, and I think players are really gonna feel like it completes the experience, because I feel like some players didn't feel like Bo had a satisfying ending. To some people think that, and I somewhat agree. Like, there's definitely some unexplained things. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, sure.
So I just wanted to make sure that before I put Bo to rest, Bo Path of the Teal Lotus to rest, that those questions are like somewhat answered.
Yeah. So you're saying you're talking about building the bait and stuff. Are we talking about Tanuki Kabuki? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we have the Tanuki Kabuki DLC coming out. We announced that like a month ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Little less than a month, yeah. And that is like, what I've been referring to.
Yeah, and like, when I beat Bo when it first launched, I noticed there were some things on the map. I imagine that might have something to do with the upcoming DLC. I know there's something interesting in like the beginning cave, where you fight the large fox boss. There's something interesting there. There was something interesting like up in the mountains. So is all that going to be something we can look forward to?
So what's interesting is that content was actually, it wasn't like polished, but it was in the game when we launched, but we didn't like make it accessible. It just didn't feel like the right time or it didn't feel like it was going to be finished to the level I wanted it to be.
Sure.
So we didn't end up including it. There is something behind those doors. I'll say that, and maybe like the story of Tanuki Kabuki will go in that direction.
Okay, gotcha. So Tanuki Kabuki is not exactly about those doors, but we'll see. I got a really inappropriate question to ask about Tanuki Kabuki. Tanukis are known.
Oh,
Tanukis are known. You know what they're known for. Is that going to take any part in this, or?
Yeah, and then if anyone doesn't, we won't say what we're talking about, but like you could just look it up, guys. Just research what Tanuki is known for. I definitely struggled to think about like how could we do this tastefully, because to a Western audience, it doesn't quite hit the same way. Like if we were making this game for a Japanese audience, like culturally, it would be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
But for a Western audience, people would be like, "What are you doing, Chris? Like, what is this decision to include this?" So there will perhaps be a subtle reference, a little wink to people who know what to look for, but there's not going to be any overt baggage in the DLC.
That's probably the right move, but I had to ask it because I was like, oh my gosh, I saw some artwork. It's like some genuine artwork of like Tanukis.
It's bizarre.
Oh yeah, they're catching fish,
they're like beating people to death. And have you ever seen the movie Pompoko, which is a Ghibli movie? That movie gets wild in the third act with
really?
that.
All right, I have to check that out. I've seen a lot of Ghibli.
My jaw was on the floor.
That's so funny. So, is there anything about Tanuki Kabuki you could share with us going on forward? Now, I don't want you to spoil anything, but is there anything you can get people excited for with it?
Yeah, so pretty like soon into the DLC, you're going to build this really extravagant Kabuki theater in a location, and that building will become a new hub of sorts.
Okay.
Which will have like many different. It's going to be the boss rush, which will be contextualized as Kabuki plays, which is the Japanese like form of theater.
Mm-hmm.
So the Tanukis can transform. So like the main Tanuki there is she transforms into the bosses, and you can fight them. But in addition to that, there's like many different rooms where you can access certain types of content. There's going to be a gachapon machine where there's like collectibles. So like it's post-game collectibles where you can like, for the players that like to do that kind of stuff and like complete collections, that content is something we really focused on. And then Bo will also have their own little hub, their little room where they can put furniture in, put wallpapers in, so players can actually customize their own room for Bo. Bo will finally have like a home in Strange Garden.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. We're going to kind of wrap this up a little bit, but I'm curious, like what's something that you're very proud of with Bo's development? What's something you look at Bo and you're like, this is it. I did a great job on this. You and your team, not just you. But.
Yeah, my team is. I would have never completed this without like the awesome help of my team, especially Trevor, who is like the other co-founder of Squid Shock. Like he believed in me when I was like developing Bo solo. He believed in me enough to like dedicate 3.5 years of his life to Bo, which looking back, it wasn't. Like at the time, it was a terrible decision to like look at what that prototype I had for Bo. Like he should have never like signed on to it. But it ended up being a great decision. But yeah, I don't know if it's cheesy to say, but I'm super proud of my team, who essentially was every single person with the exception of one. I think Milton, who worked on Ori, Ori 2. Had no experience in making a video game, like all fresh. Like,
oh wow,
yeah. So everything from the animation to the direction to coding or programming, no experience. So the fact that like they all stepped up to the plate and did something that was extremely difficult and scary to like do, despite not feeling like they necessarily had the skills to do it, is something super admirable, and I'm super proud of my team for that. Yeah, I'm very proud of like the movement system. I think a lot of people don't get it, but like the people who do get it are like, wow, this is very tight and very something that they like to spend a lot of time with that. So that's why I love the speedrunning community, because they get it. They're like, okay, when you give the player this much agency in the movement, in the player controller, it feels really fun to master. So that's another thing like me and Trevor are very proud of.
Yeah, I'll say when I released my review on Bo, I had a lot of people that did not get it, like you said, and which is interesting because like I was the one, I got it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a lot of fun to do. People were like, "Why can't they just give me a double jump?" You know, they didn't like the reset, but it's like that's part of the game. You get infinite jumps. It's cool. I don't know. So you know, each their own. I'm not going to say who's right or who's wrong, even though I am right. But anyway, but yeah, I thought that was a really great system, and I'm glad to hear that the speedrunning community has embraced it and they're really using it. So I haven't watched a Bo speedrun yet. I watch speedruns all the time. I got to do that. So thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, shout out Vysuals. We have a bunch of great speedrunners. Vysuals has been a big proponent of it. So like Vyzuals or whatever.
Okay.
Maybe not a ZS. Yeah, he has a world record right now.
Yeah, I'll throw something on the screen so people do. What is the world record?
He's not. I believe it's 1 hour for 100%. It's like 1 hour 20.
What?
Like that. 1 hour 30. Yeah.
How does that make you feel that you spent all that time and you built all?
I love it.
You love it.
I love that someone dedicated that much time to beating the game that quickly. Like it makes me smile.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. Yeah. I would figure like I made this game with all these scenarios and all this, and then people just absolutely break it. And I'm like, oh, but I'm glad.
But you can only get to that point by like spending so much time with the game and understanding it on such a deep, nuanced level. That's why like it's better than anything I could have hoped for the game. It's like it's bringing people joy so much that they'll spend their life trying to perfect it.
Man, that's really cool. That's really cool. So nice. All right. A couple more questions, and then I'll let you go because I know you got to get to work. You got to get on this beta. So, I guess I'm interested in like, is there like a detail in the game that you think most players have missed, but you just love it?
Here's one random one. I don't know if this is like the perfect example, but in Sakura City, there's a random chance that what I call the Chrysanthemum Maiko to pass by on the streets on a screen. And then recently on Reddit, someone posted like, "Oh my God, has anyone ever seen this happen before?" And then everyone was like, "No, I've never seen that. Blah 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 blah. I didn't even know that existed." I think the chance is like pretty low, so it's difficult. But that came from an experience I had in Kyoto, where in the Gyeon district there's these people call them geisha, but they're called Maiko, and they walk by, and they're very hard to find and hard to see. And if you see one, it's kind of like a special moment because they're very like ninja-like and stealthy. So I had an experience there, and like I was just like remember that experience, and I wanted to recreate that in the game. So there's like a little detail like that. There's a couple other things like that, where just like a very, very, very small percentage of people will see and then kind of be like, "Oh, I didn't know that was in here. What else am I missing?"
Gosh, yeah, that's nuts. And like I didn't even know that. But you take a look at everything that you've created and just the presentation of Bo, and it's so beautiful, it really is. And I was like, I knew there's got to be some kind of cool detail, and then there you go. So I appreciate that. I'll see if I can find some footage of it or something like that, and I'll throw it up so people can see it. So All right, I guess to wrap this up, I just want to throw it out there to you. Like, how can fans best support Bo and your studio? Because I want Tanuki Kabuki to be successful, and I want to see what all you all can do with Bo before you lay him to rest. And so what can people do to help best support you all?
Yeah, I mean, join the community in our Discord. Obviously, playing the game is the main reason we made the game. So, it's been on sale like a few times since we released. So that'd be a good opportunity to pick it up. And yeah, we also have a Patreon where I'm sharing a little bit about the development of Tanuki Kabuki and just random stuff that like I don't share anywhere else. But yeah, just play the game and enjoy it and like join the community.
Excellent. Well, I'll do what I can. I can't wait for the DLC to come out. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll keep playing it. It's been a minute since I played. I'm sure, like, I haven't played it since launch, so I'm sure you guys have done some tweaking and stuff. I think jumping back in is probably going to be a new experience for me. So can't wait for that.
Well, I think like if you are gonna do a playthrough, maybe wait till the DLC.
Oh yeah, certainly, yeah. And I have a series that I do called Metroidvania Revisited, and so
great.
So I'll definitely play through the game again with the DLC. I guess I asked this question too: is the DLC? Is it like, oh man, maybe I'll ask it, but like, is it going to be like intertwined with the game, or is it something you unlock later on? And is it post game? I don't know if you can answer these questions, but how does that work? Because like, I played Blasphemous 2, and they just released a DLC, and that DLC is very integrated within the actual game. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
How is Tanuki Kabuki? Is that something you unlock later on, or is it integrated within? How's that working?
Yeah, so it's primarily post game content. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But there's improvements made on the base game, but they're not like, they don't change the story too much, but like you'll notice a little bit of differences in the main game.
Oh yeah, no,
mostly like reducing friction and stuff. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, and I 100% plan on playing through it again, so I can do a revisit on it. All right, well, Chris, thank you so much for your patience, for your insights, and for sitting down with a nerd like me and talking about this incredible game. I really cannot wait for the DLC. I am waiting on bated breath. I follow you on your socials, and so I throw it to you to let everyone know how they can follow you, how they can reach you, and things like that.
Yeah, so we're most active on X, so you can go to search Squid Shock, one word, on X, and follow us there. That's kind of where I post everything, and our Discord too. Yeah, that's how we get followers and stuff.
Excellent. So again, Chris, thank you for your time. And if you haven't already, everyone watching, like, subscribe, follow Chris, follow Squid Shock. Look forward to the new Bo DLC, Tanuki Kabuki. But with that, thank you so much, and you guys have a great day. See you later, nerds.
Bye.